They're on a happiness journey. Okay, and so how can we incorporate that into identifying what it is that God has commissioned for us? What does God have for me? What was I born to do? What was I born for? Why was I born? Okay, the goal of meeting together over the course of 8-ish weeks is to help identify what that is. Okay, the first step is you have to have a relationship with God before you ever identify what it is that He has for you. If you do not have a relationship, you will not ever find what it is that God has for you. Okay, that's the importance of understanding His death on the cross. Okay, Jesus came, He paid a price for sin, your sin. Had you been the only sinner ever to grace the planet, He still would have had to die for you. Okay, sin has a punishment, an eternal one. Okay, He said, I will take that on for you. You just have to believe that I did it. Okay, once you believe that I did it, you are a recipient of what I did. Okay, what did He do? He paid, the big grammatical word is atone for. That means absolute coverage. He 100% completely paid for sin on the cross. Okay, and if you believe in that, He says you will get the reward. In other words, it's when you show up to class not having contributed to the group project, He says, man, I already did it and we're going to get an A+. I got you, bro, and you just get to be the recipient of that. Okay, that is what He offers. Okay, these people that make you think religion is different than that, it's wrong. Okay, the Bible is very clear that all you have to do is believe that happened, confess that happened, and allow Him to come in and transform your life. And through the power of a relationship, you are going to identify who He is, what He means to you, but ultimately what He has made you to do. Okay, if you are living this life believing that there's nothing to it, man, what a awful and sorrowful life that has to be. Okay, if you firmly believe that this life is just to live, wake up, go to work, and go home, man, I'm sorry that that's your belief. Okay, that sounds miserable. Okay, I firmly believe that there's a God of the universe that has commissioned you to a humongous purpose, but unfortunately, He makes you in your free will choose to follow Him and to reveal what it is. Okay, and people always ask, why does a good God send people to hell? He's not going to make you go to heaven. Okay, He's not going to say, you have to follow me, but man, is He urging you to. Because when you do, you will find life in Him. The Bible says you will find it abundantly. So if you have been chasing this life and it feels like it's to no avail, man, I'm glad you're here. Okay, that was week 1. Week 2, what did we talk about? We talked about what happens after that. Okay, if you have actually given God lordship of your life, you've looked at Him and you've said, God, my life is yours. Okay, my hands are open. I'm done white-knuckling life. I'm done trying to call the shots. I'm done living in my sin. Like I believe that you have something better for me and I have to let go of my life to receive it. God, I'm doing it. What's next? Okay, we talked about this process called sanctification. Okay, we talked about this stepping into this journey every day of what it looks like to become more like Jesus. Okay, we brought up this illustration of an ice sculpture. Okay, you are a perfectly made sculpture. In Genesis, we find that God has wonderfully and beautifully created you in the image of God. Okay, that's what the Bible says. Every single person in here, God has wonderfully and beautifully made in His image. In His image, He created you. Okay, that's huge. That's perfection. You mean to tell me that you stand perfect in the eyes of God? Yes, you stand perfect. That's a crazy thought. Okay, but unfortunately, there's this thing called sin that corrupts that. Does it change how God views you? No. I'm going to say that one more time. Does sin change how God views you? No. But sin separates you from God. And so what He's asking is for you to take His free gift that says, I will wash your sin away. And not only will I continue to see you as perfect, you can step into that process so that one day you will see yourself perfect as well. Okay, it's called sanctification, the process of becoming more like Jesus. We are a perfect sculpture covered in a block of ice, and Jesus says, if you commit your life to me, I will commit to chipping away all the things that make you unlike me, so that one day you will fully embrace what I made you to do, who I made you to be. So that when you get to heaven, this is not at all biblical. Don't assume it's in the Bible because it's not. This is just a really cool illustration that I got from a guy on social media at one point in time. But he had said, man, I am so deathly afraid. I don't even think he was a Christian, to be honest. I am so deathly afraid that when I get to heaven, I'm going to come face to face with who it is that God made me to be, and that's going to be a complete stranger to me. Okay, that I lived this whole life 100% off of who I was made to be. Okay, that's a fear of mine. I listened to that and I was like, man, how real is that? That God gives you a amount of time. Okay, he is over all things. God is in absolute control of your destiny and your life. And so if he said, I'm going to let you live for 80 years, you've been given a privilege that not many people get, but he's saying that I'm giving you 80 years to accomplish a goal, a task, and to become who it is that I created you to be. And by the time you get to heaven, hopefully the person that I created you to be does not look like a stranger. Okay? That's what sanctification is. And so it's the process of becoming more like Jesus. We talked about to accomplish that, what do we have to do in our life? Anybody? To accomplish sanctification, to walk successfully through the process of sanctification, what does it require of us?
Sacrifice.
Okay. What do you sacrifice?
Old self.
Okay.
Fleshly desires.
Otherwise known as?
Sin.
Sin. You eliminate sin. Okay? And so that was the big emphasis last week, was we identified what things that we knew were holding us captive from God. Okay? Go ahead.
And then put in the barriers to prevent or something.
That's right, which is what we're going to talk about right now. So it's one thing, guys, to acknowledge what to do right. Okay? I can acknowledge that bench pressing 300 pounds repetitively is going to get me big. But what happens when I don't bench 315 pounds? I don't get big. In the same way, if you know that eliminating sin in your life is going to make you more holy, and it's going to help you successfully undergo the process of sanctification, but you don't eliminate the sin, do you ever do it? No. So it's a big deal. And so here's what we're going to do. Okay, on the basis of that, to walk into this week, okay, I want you to share 2 of your gratitudes, remind everybody of your name, but I want you, it could be in humility, because there might be some shame attached to it, or it could be a point of rejoicing. Okay, this is going to be the moment of what God calls believers to do amongst fellow believers, and that is the word accountability. Okay, what does that mean? That means in the same way, when Draven doesn't show up to the gym, I call him and I say, get your butt to the gym. Okay, if we can acknowledge something that's going to make us more holy, and we can agree that it's going to make us more holy, the most loving thing that I can do for you and the most loving thing that you can do for me is to hold me accountable to the truth that we discovered together. And so the truth that we discovered together last week was that you cannot be actively sinning and identifying who God created you to be at the same time. Meaning if you are actively living in sin, you will never find who God made you to be. Won't happen. Okay? So we have to eliminate the sin. Share your name, 2 things on your list of gratitudes, and what you did to eliminate sin this past week. If you didn't do anything, admit that humbly. Okay? Face that head on. Okay? There's no condemnation here. Nobody's going to beat you with a whip. Okay? But it will allow us to hold you accountable and to champion you and to say, hey, you have guys watching. Okay? Every single guy here is under a microscope in the community by people who are not saved. So if we don't hold each other accountable under that same microscope, we are going to fail in the eyes of those that are watching our lives as proclaimed Christians. Does that make sense? And so with that, there's no shame in this. It might make you go up a little bit. Man, I didn't do anything. I was so lit up by fire, and I left here and did absolutely nothing about it. That's okay. But face that so that we can walk alongside of you and push you and champion you towards that. Okay? We're going to start with Jacob, and we'll go Jacob, and we'll go this way. Hunter will be last. Obviously, Michael, you weren't here last week. Were you here last week?
I was not.
Yeah, so you weren't here last week, so you didn't know about it. That's what we did. Okay? We identified the sins in our life that are holding us captive, that are preventing us from growing with God. Okay? Acknowledging that we cannot grow in our relationship with Jesus and be in sin at the same time.
Yeah.
So we put a fire outside, wrote them down, didn't show anybody, folded them up, and threw them in the fire and said, this is it. I'm done. I'm done with this sin. And then it was a call to action. It was like, okay, what are you going to do now? And then we talked about some practical things that people can do. And so this is the accountability piece. Who did it?
Gotcha.
So that's the focus. So if
All right.
obviously you weren't here, now you know. Go ahead, Jacob.
Two things I'm grateful for, and then one thing I did.
Yep. Say your name, 2 things you're grateful for, and then 1 thing you did. 1 or 2 things or 15 things. Go ahead.
My name is Jacob. I'm grateful for my brothers and sisters, and I'm grateful for my job. one thing I strive for, especially this week, was to walk away from conversations in the workplace that were either complaining or gossip.
Come on.
I'm taking that.
Come on. It's amazing.
Awesome. My name is Michael. The two things that I'm grateful for is being able to have a car that I can drive around in and
Come on.
not having to be lugged around by someone else with. And then also just having a roof over my head that I'm still able to live with my parents.
Amen.
Because I'm 21 and it's like, man, I'm so grateful that they haven't kicked me out yet.
Come on, man.
So grateful.
Come on. Liam might be in that same boat. What about you, Lee?
My name is Liam, and two things I'm grateful for is this is just one of them. Is Christian and Xavier both got 225 on.
Come on, baby.
We got
We got some 225 brothers over here for you non-gym goers. The first bro mark that you can hit in the gym is 225. Bench press. He can curl it. 225 bench press. Okay, these guys hit it for the first time, so we celebrate that. Come on.
And another thing is I'm kind of grateful the Chiefs lost. I just was done. I was done seeing that. So
What was that? That was who sings the song? These. Yeah, praying on my downfall. No, not
prayed on my downfall.
Oh,
praying on my downfall. On all 10, I stand tall.
oh, that's T Grizzly.
T Grizzly, come on. First day out, that's what it is.
I wasn't
Yeah.
praying on their downfall, but if you watch the interviews, the Eagles players seemed a little more in touch with God than the Chiefs players.
I will say their coach acknowledged God and then immediately cussed right after national television.
Because he acknowledged God, and then immediately told the guy, he was like, "You can suck the tip of my lumbar." He was like, "I would tell you, like I would just go off on you, but that's not godly." And then he proceeded to say that.
Yeah. I would say hearing his interactions, that is probably a godless man.
Well, I wasn't just talking about him.
It's a Philly man.
It's a Philly man.
But a thing I did this week to cut out some sin is I just deleted some apps on my phone that were
Come on, what apps did you delete?
some apps,
What'd you delete?
just some like social medias,
Like?
Twitter, Reddit, those just
Okay.
so far. But
Yeah. No, dude. Good apps.
yeah.
A
Yeah.
win's a win.
Yeah,
It
dude,
was
wins
a
a
start.
win,
It
dude.
was a start.
Yeah.
I'm working at it.
Yeah, dude, wins a win. Wins a win. Good.
Because those were the ones, I'll be honest, if I want to see some messed up stuff,
Yeah,
immediately
Twitter.
Twitter,
They don't
immediately Twitter,
Yeah.
Reddit.
Yeah.
You open Twitter and you'll see somebody like,
No filter.
Yeah, no, you'll see a beheading in about 4 seconds.
Yeah. It's jacked up.
So yeah, so
That's good.
I moved on from those two.
Come on. Come on. What you got, Trey?
All right. Two things I'm thankful for is yeah. My name's Trevor. Two things I'm thankful for is my family and Draven's family. And I want to be honest. I was gonna, work on myself, but I ended up not. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, no condemnation. I think it's really important that we can present to everybody just a place of just comfortability, like a place where you can be vulnerable and that you don't have hands pointing at you. I think that's what, like traditionally the church has represented, that place that you can't go into if you do bad. Man, Jesus never said, fix yourself and then come to me. He just said, come to me. There's a story in the Bible that this lady is in the act of committing adultery. Okay, and presumably she's still naked in this moment, and these people catch her. Okay, meaning she's having sex with someone who's not her husband. And they grab her, they pull her off, and they go and throw her at the feet of Jesus. And I would imagine that she's still naked in this moment in the middle of the street. And they say, what are you going to do? The law, meaning like the government, says that you need to kill her right now, stone her. And Jesus says, okay, well, he who has never sinned, go ahead, throw the first stone. Okay, stoning somebody means that, or martyring somebody, well, martyr means kill for religious reasons, but a popular way of killing people back then is they threw rocks at you until you died. Okay, that's what stoning is. And so if someone was caught in the act of adultery, they were to be killed by people throwing rocks at them. And so Jesus says, okay, whoever's without the first sin, go ahead, throw the first one. So everybody's quiet, everybody's still. And then he starts writing in the dirt is what it says. And it's not recorded what he wrote, but some really smart people called theologians think that he was writing the sins of the people standing around him. And nobody knows. He just starts writing in the sand. So could you imagine? They throw him at the feet. Jesus just stands here. He's like, whoa. Jesus, are we supposed to stone her? It's like, okay, yeah, man, you're right. That's what the law says. He who has not sinned, go ahead, throw the first one. While you're doing that.
Immediately get some sin, you're gay.
And he's just, seriously, and I mean, he's just writing, and he's just writing. And then eventually he looks up and it's just him and the woman. He goes, where'd everybody go? And she's like, they all left. And I can only imagine how embarrassed that she felt. You know what I mean? Like that feeling of like condemnation. It's not even condemnation, it's shame. It's like, man, I knew that I did wrong. I knew that I shouldn't have done that. Or in your instance, like I knew that I should have done something. And Jesus looks at her and says, man, I don't condemn you. Here's my advice. Go and sin no more. That's all I want from you. That's it. I don't condemn you. Just don't do it anymore. Okay, that's what we are called to emulate as Jesus. And so as brothers, like understand, you can always come to anybody here, me especially, and say, hey man, I'm falling short, or hey, I'm not taking strides, and I will never look at you differently. Okay, because that's who I am, but that's what Jesus called us to. Okay, and that story really, really illustrates that. And so my encouragement to you would be, don't let that happen again this week. That's the advice that he gave to the woman. It was, okay, man, I'm not mad at you. I love you so much. Man, I know how harmful it is to do that. My encouragement is don't do it. You have a free will. You can go and not do it. But Jesus is looking at you and he's like, man, try it. Like the freedom that you'll find. Just try it. So that's my encouragement. So next week I'll ask you. I'm telling you on the front end. I will look you in the eyes with Draven standing next to me. And we'll just ask. So prepare yourself for that. And don't let it be like a shameful point all week. Just be like, okay, I have guys that love me enough that want to see me become more godly. I'm going to allow them to hold me accountable. We're going to do this thing together. Okay, that's what I hope you feel. Okay, don't feel condemnation. Nobody will ever come down on you. We want to champion you through this thing, okay? So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was bold.
Thank you so much. I was holding back because of shame, but I also, in fact, deleted Tinder. I just didn't want to admit that I had Tinder.
Dude, that's fine.
That's going.
Yeah.
I'm done with that.
I'm not a dumb guy. I know things. I literally knew that was the exact
What, you
test
see
you're
him on
talking
there? You looking for dudes?
No, but I'm not dumb.
That's called Grindr.
I don't know.
Said Tanner, not Grinder.
Yeah.
They match.
we got in the direct chat. Well, this is weird.
It was a little humbling every once in a while. You would see a dude.
All right, go ahead, Paul.
My name's Paul.
That was really hard, huh?
My name's Paul.
The back of his papers.
I love that he wrote gratitudes.
What is not? It's a you.
He wrote gratitude instead of gratitude.
There's a D,
All right,
gratitude.
go ahead.
I'm thankful for my family, not Draven. And I'm thankful for my job.
Come on.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, actually, okay. So last night, as a matter of fact, knowing that I didn't have work today because I took off, I was so cute. Kind of tempted to. So there's this girl that I was kind of hard to, and I was gonna go to her house last night.
Yeah.
I mean, like past midnight, so nothing good was gonna happen. And I mean, I got dressed, got in my car, and I've been listening to Christian music lately.
Come on.
And first thing that I hear is the Christian music when I turn my car on. And I was like, oh, okay. So I texted her. I was like, no, it's not. I can't tonight. I'm going back inside. So that's one thing that
Come on, man.
it did.
Come on.
So,
It's amazing.
That's
Come
good
on.
stuff.
It's amazing. Come on. What you, Dre?
Thankful for the Lord. Okay, that's what I am. Draven means your time. Thankful for the Lord. Thankful for the Chiefs losing. Thankful I have a place to live. I deleted any traces of anything sexual, anything pornographic on my phone.
Come on, man.
Everything. So,
Come on. Let's go. And that's huge. That's huge. Come on.
My name is Levi. Can you face this way a little bit?
My name is Levi. I'm thankful for.
Zoom in on that right there.
I'm thankful for my friends, my dogs, and some things I did this week was I made sure to read the Bible every night and not think about materialistic things as much as I used to, and not care about them as much.
Come on.
That's good.
That's awesome. That's huge.
Alright, well, my name's Christian, and things I'm grateful for are benching 225
Come on. Come on.
and having a day off.
Let's go.
Yep.
Everything for your grandma.
Yeah, I'm also thankful that Drake got to meet my grandma. Some things I did this week just to avoid sin was, I feel like I sin the most whenever I have the most free time. So I've been trying to fill my free time with things that are good. Like me and Ben recently started going Thursdays to the young adult ministry. And yeah, I've just been trying to fill my time for good things.
So I'm Xavier. Mine was I'm thankful for my friends and family, of course, and I'm thankful for my new job and new opportunities that will come out of it. And some things I took out of like precaution for this week basically is like I'm the same boat as Christian, just like I feel like whenever I'm like alone or just have downtime is when I feel like I like sin the most. So I just started being like way more busy and just being way more active. I started attending more track meets and practice again because before I was like super depressed and I didn't want to. Started just being with friends more, I guess, and I'm just keeping myself busy. With Liam, I too stopped getting on Twitter and Reddit.
Good. Come on, man. Come on. My name's Evan. I am thankful for super spiritual answers, redemption, and forgiveness, because I feel like I need them more than anybody. This actually, for me, the thing that I implemented was today, so it wasn't last week, it was today, because I had an opportunity to do it. But just transparently, I'm learning how to be a good husband because I am a sucky husband. I am a selfish husband. My whole life, it's been me, myself, and I, picking myself up by the bootstraps and kind of grinding life out. So I'm really good at that. I'm not really good at incorporating other people into that. And so it's really, really hard for me. It has been throughout the totality of my marriage to incorporate another being and to do it in a way where you handle that being with care. For me, that's a struggle. I'm not necessarily the most gentle guy on the earth. And so it's hard for me to do that. But one of the ways was that the Lord has convicted me through prayer, through reading, and through people is just to, I guess, restructure my prioritization chain. In other words, stop rendering what I render as such an important facet of my life and understand that my wife is more important than most things in my life, if not everything with the exception of Jesus. And so with that today, workaholic. So I left work and went and met her and shopped with her for like an hour. We had to buy some new comforter for our bed. Our dog chewed a hole through it in the middle of the night. And so that's not something I would typically do. I wouldn't spend the money on it. One, I'm super frugal. Wouldn't spend the money on it, and I wouldn't take the time out of my day to do that. And so I did those two things consciously. And then by the time I got there, I had worked through how much we were going to spend things. So I was able to enjoy it for the first time. And that's not something that I've been able to do. So I'm working through that, what that looks like. But that was a cool moment, cool win for me. I was able to put aside the things that I've always rendered as important, which is just growth and development for the sake of my life. So that was something I looked into implement that again. So hold me accountable to that. Ask me, how did you love your wife, or what did you do to serve your wife last week? Ask me that next time you see me here. Okay? Everybody remember that? Mm-hmm. So all I need is one person to remember it. Go ahead.
My name's Ben. I'm thankful that the Chiefs will play the league for the next 10 years. So this is not over. And
The guy who lost 40 to, was it 22? It should be. Didn't you score the last points in the last?
had I been on that field, that wouldn't have happened. It would have been the other way
All right,
around.
hey, don't distract him. Here we go.
40 to 6 most of the game.
But then I'm also thankful for getting closer with everyone in this room and making new friends. I don't think some of my old friends were good for me, so it's good having a good transition into people that share the same beliefs that I do. And things I've done to kind of limit my sin, I've been doing really good at not getting on competitive games on Xbox, because that's when I swear the most. It's like second nature, but I haven't been doing it a lot. And then yeah,
Dude, I get it. Go ahead.
What competitive games are you playing?
Call of Duty.
it's either COD, Rainbow, or Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Only 12-year-olds are playing Marvel Rivals. What are you saying to those 12-year-olds?
He's Grandmaster.
What's your favorite word?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
Moving on.
it's not a good word.
Go ahead.
Trevor, you familiar with it?
Go ahead.
Oh, crap.
Go ahead. Moving on. Before we get arrested.
Right. My name is Max. I am very thankful for the community around me. While back, there was a lot of struggling with like depression, whatnot, but community definitely helps with that. Can confirm there. Very thankful for my current financial situation. Been blessed. This week, actually last time we were here, I downloaded that. What's it called?
Ever accountable?
Ever Accountable. It's like a what would you call it? Porn blocker kind of
Yeah,
thing.
accountability app. So
That kind of thing.
literally, it's the emphasis is on.
I didn't know what to call it, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
I mean, seriously, that's what it is. So there's two forms of accountability apps for those that didn't download it, because I know that it's a struggle for every man in this room. Okay, I will look at all of you and say that you watch porn and be confident in saying that, because it's just something that plagues everybody. Okay, understand you're not alone, but understand that you have to step into the fight with those who are fighting. Okay, I am not naive. Okay, I was once you at your age, and I'm still at my age with the same tendencies that you have. Okay, you don't just grow out of it. Okay, sobering statistic: 65% of pastors admitted to having a porn addiction. 65% admitted. That doesn't include the people that couldn't admit. Okay, of pastors. Okay, it's a struggle. And so with that, only 2 people came up to me out of 17. 2 people, and got that accountability out. What is it? Okay, what it does is it takes a screenshot of every screen that you're on at all times, and then Covenant does that. Ever Accountable does it as well. But Ever Accountable also tracks hashtags. It tracks URLs. It tracks. It takes pictures of screens. If something explicit, even like a girl in like a crop top, it immediately. A shirtless guy, immediately. It works both ways. If there's a hashtag in a Instagram video that you're watching, it flags it right away. Like if there's a hashtag that is an explicit word, you know what I mean? Like if there's hashtag bikini or hashtag sex or hashtag blowjob or hashtag, it's going to flag that. Okay, and so what it does is it connects somebody else to the other end of that accountability. Meaning, in the instance that he watches anything on his phone, it notifies me immediately. If it detects that he might be on the way to looking at something, I get a detection that says, "Hey, you may want to check in with him right now." And I'll get an email because I'm accountability people with other, or I'm accountability friends with other people, and it literally says, "Hey, so and so is currently looking at blacklisted content. Give them a call."
It'd be wild to get a phone call from you.
I'll call you right away. I get the email right away. I work. And that's, but seriously, and that's the
real
thing.
though.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because I think that on the basis of that, people have convinced themselves that there's like an ability to acquire willpower.
No.
It's like you haven't stopped.
Isn't that the one sin that the Bible tells you?
Just gouge your eye out.
Yeah.
It says, ironically, it says if your left hand causes you to stumble, then to cut it off. I don't think it's a coincidence that it says left hand.
Well,
Okay, regardless, you use a hand. I don't think it's a coincidence that it says that, okay? Meaning there's biblical roots to an incredibly common sin. Stop lying to yourself that you don't have the struggle, okay? You do have the struggle. Everybody in here has the struggle, okay? It's just a matter of how you're combating it, okay? On the basis of that, because I think it's super common and I think that everybody needs this accountability software. Like, me to this day, I can't have batteries in the remote to my TV, so I threw them away. I actually threw them outside so that I couldn't have batteries to my remote. I can't have access to a laptop that doesn't have accountability software on it. I can't use a device. Why? Because I will look. I will look. I can't be on Instagram, not because I thought it consumed my time. It was because I couldn't stop looking at images of people who weren't my wife. Okay, I couldn't go to Twitter and not hashtag chase and find videos and pictures that I shouldn't have seen and then done things to those videos and pictures. Okay, they call it PAM, porn-assisted masturbation. Okay, you don't watch porn without masturbating. It doesn't happen. Okay, and so what you're doing is having sex with yourself. As a married man, sex with somebody else whom you're married to is a lot better. And so with that, if you can't be actively, get this is going to wreck the room, right, like it should. If we tie what we talked about last week, if you cannot be in active sin and growing in your relationship with Jesus at the same time, that means you can't be actively addicted to porn as a reprobate sinner, a non-repentant sinner, and be growing in your relationship with Jesus at the same time. You hear me? You hear me? It's like, Evan, but I got rid of everything else. Okay, sin is sin, guys. You want to know what the worst sin was of all time? When someone took a bite out of an apple. Anything not done in the faith, the Bible says, is sin. That's a Bible verse. Anything not done in the faith is a sin. The worst sin of all time that doomed all of humanity was when Eve decided to eat an apple. It has nothing to do with the act. It has everything to do with the intent behind it. If it's not done in faith, it is sin. So you cannot be an active, reprobate porn watcher and be growing in your relationship with Jesus at the same time. Why is he the only one that walked out of here and downloaded that app? See what I mean? Like, that's real. That's accountability. Like the heaviness in the room, guys, I didn't put that there. It's because there's a Spirit of God within you saying, you guys need to change. Like you have to get a hold of that. Okay, I'm not physically walking around putting that weight on you that you feel. Okay, that shame that you're feeling, I'm not doing that. I don't have the ability to do that. Okay, there's no shame, there's no guilt in those who are in Christ Jesus, but there is conviction. And if you face conviction and don't respond to it, you are not growing in your relationship with Jesus. Meaning you will never find who it is that God made you to be on this earth. That's why we go to work, fellas, right? So we can be somebody. That's why we buy nice trucks and nice things, so that we can be perceived as somebody. I'm telling you that the path to being somebody is in Jesus. Why would you not do it? You know what I mean? Why work hard every day? You're going to buy things and they're all going to burn in the end. You can't take them with you. So what is that for? So again, you cannot be an active, reprobate porn user, an abuser, and still be growing in your relationship with Jesus. So you have to do something about it. Man, I threw the batteries out of my remote on my TV. You know how humbling that was at 24 years of age? I'll be 24 next Monday. I had to take the batteries out because when my wife was sleeping, I would go and find YouTube videos or watch movies that had explicit content, and I would like enjoy doing it.